This week on the podcast, we try to answer the question, is The Conjuring 2 better than the original? Let's find out. The Dissect That Film Podcast, where we dissect the good, the bad, and the ugly of your favorite films and film franchises. I am your host, Brett Parker. Joining me, as always, my wonderful co-hosts, Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming.
Hello.
And joining us once again is a legend of the podcasting world himself. Yeah, no, turn around, look this way, look towards the camera, sir. We have Dustin Elkins from the Flicks and Friends podcast. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me back, and everyone's not mad at me.
I can see now that I'm looking at you, I can say, fuck you, Dustin.
Man.
Listen, it's not like we're actually mad at you. It's just like one of those things like, fuck, I don't want to do this shit.
Man, these movies are so good, but they are really spooky. And I just, looking at behind you guys, I assumed you guys are into spooky shit.
Not at all.
She likes the macabre. I just like the monsters.
Okay, hell yeah. All right.
That's fair though. You do. I mean, I would assume the same if you.
I thought it was a safe assumption.
I love spooky stuff.
This is all my stuff. Yeah. This is all my stuff.
This wall is my wall.
Yes.
That's it.
Well, before we get started on this fun stuff, Dustin, tell us about Flicks and Friends and what you guys do over there.
Sure. I'm Dustin, 1/3 of the Flicks and Friends podcast. We are a variety podcast show. We watch anything from animated movies to horror movies, comedy to satire. If you think about it, we might review it. And three dudes who just like to have fun. We have guests on all the time. Parker is now a reoccurring guest and our producer now. So he's picked up triple duty, but I'm not paying him to do it.
Producer hasn't produced shit.
Then, yeah. Hell yeah.
That's what producers do.
Yeah, exactly.
You should do this. That's my input. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.
That's what you guys are.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. You're the producers
we're
of the
just
show.
Here. We're just here.
Well, all of the links and stuff to Flicks and Friends will be down in the description. You guys know who he is. He's been here. This is his third go-round here on the show, starting off with a great movie, Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, which people need to check out. It's a very underrated horror film that everybody needs to check out. And then he came back to talk about Mulan, 1998 and the 2020, which please listen to that episode. It's really good. And nobody showed. There's no love for these fucking Disney episodes. No, it's not. Those Disney episodes didn't do very good. I don't know if people were just like, fuck Disney or what it was, but please listen to those episodes. They're great. But he's back. We're talking about The Conjuring 2.
We're talking.
We're talking.
Yes.
We're talking.
That's what I heard too.
Wait.
What did I sign up for?
I'm not even drunk yet. No, we're talking about The Conjuring 2. Dustin, as we have talked about in the last couple of weeks, picked for us to cover this franchise because he is one of our $5 patrons over at patreon.com/dissectthatfilm, where we have two wonderful tiers where for a single $1 you can get our episodes nice and early, or just support us with a single $1. You even don't have to worry about that stuff. But at our $5 tier, you get a bunch of extra fun goodness. You get the extra early episodes and you get exclusive shows. We just started our monster series called The Monster Zone, which Dan and Angela host. We just covered two amazing movies called The Food of the Gods and Them from 1954. And we have a Tubi show over there where we are. As you listen to this, and it's already out because like I state every single week we record these 2 to 3 weeks ahead of time. So the episode will be out where we talked about, what is it called? The Sharkensaw Women's Prison Massacre.
That's correct, sir.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, if you want some fun exclusives or you just want to support us, go over to patreon.com/dissect that film. We greatly appreciate you. But of course, this show will always be free to everybody. So, if you don't want to, that's cool. But we're just letting you know.
Yeah, and don't judge a book by its cover or a film by its title.
Exactly.
Just like a first edition print of Charles Dickens's A Tale of Two Cities.
Yes. Exactly.
You'll only get that joke if you've watched some of our stuff on Patreon.
Yes. But yeah, but Dustin was our very first $5 patron. So I reached out to him. I said, hey, what should be our next franchise? And he said, hey, how about the Mary-Kate and Ashley movies? And I said,
there it is.
I don't know if I want to do that right now. And he's like, how about the Conjuring Universe? And I went, sold. And then I remembered in the back of my brain as I said yes, I knew that Dan had always talked about how he doesn't like these type of movies. And I went, yes. Let's go. Christ. Angela surprised me the fact that she is not totally into these because she plays Phasmophobia.
I can't play Phasmo by myself.
We need that exclusive stream of you playing Phasmo by yourself.
Yes.
That will never. You have to get me extremely drunk.
We'll get everybody else to play. You got 3 other people to play with you right here.
He just said by myself.
2 other people.
I'll happily play with you, Angela. It's been a while. It's been a long time.
That's a little creepy. Just kidding.
Wow.
No.
That's not where I went, but okay, cool. I forgot who I was talking to.
What did I sign up for again?
I don't know.
We're talking about things, remember?
We're talking about things. Heard that.
I just feel like I need to get my pants off.
No.
You're wearing pants?
Maybe not. You guys don't fucking know.
I always say that I don't like watching things that scare me. Yet I watch things that scare me.
It's being a glutton for punishment. It's some yours, people.
I really am a glutton for punishment. Like I do. I like the creepy, scary stuff. Possession movies and stuff like that are definitely low on my what I want to watch.
Even though it was on our first date.
Yeah. That was you.
That was you. You wanted to go.
I didn't pick the movie.
What was it?
The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Ooh.
Yeah, we watched it in theaters. It was our first formal date together, and I don't remember how it happened. Apparently, it was my fault. I wish it was odd for me because it does not sound like something I would pick. So I'm just going to go along.
I think
with her fairy tale.
It was either that or there was like 3 other movies that were like, no.
I don't know why it happened. I don't remember the horrible movie.
What year did you guys start dating?
2005.
Let's see. 2005 was a good year. It's a Batman.
I was still in high school.
I was in 8th grade.
Yeah.
Shut up.
This would have been. Hold on. This would have been.
I graduated in 2004.
September, October 2005. Somewhere in that range. We went and watch this.
I think so.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, Batman, I just remember Batman Begins came out in 2005 because that was my favorite movie of the year.
But yes, I will continually scare myself on purpose and then be like, hold me because I'm scared and have nightmares.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not scared about what I watch. It's just dudes in rubber suits.
Like I loved the Haunting of Hill House. Loved that show. Only can watch it during the day. Cannot watch anything after dark.
That in the dark, so I
no.
Is there somebody gonna walk through my? No joke. That is the last thing that actually, like, it wasn't scary watching it. It was scary after. So like, I'd watch an episode and I'd be like, okay, time to go to bed, and I'd be like,
yeah, it was scary experiencing it for sure.
Yes.
Here I am at my house, and I'm like, why is the house making noises? Like,
the first time I seen like one of the ghost faces that they put in that show. And y'all know about that, where
the ones
that
are like hidden in the background and stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
The very first one I ever seen, that was when I was like, all right, I can only watch one episode a night. Dude, fuck this.
Yeah.
That shit got me good. But Possession is the same deal. Like, my wife doesn't, that's her least favorite type of horror. And if we do anything horror, like go to haunted houses or that and like crematoriums, like she does not like she's afraid of people sitting up from the caskets. Like
See, I was going to school to be
a mortician,
forensic entomologist, and or not entomologist.
That was
anthropologist.
There was an extra.
And I'm like, I get to certain parts of preparing for class to, sign up for classes. And I'm like, well, shit, I'm going to have to, work on people before I can work on anything else. And I'm like, nope, don't think I could do it.
Hard pass.
I started watching more movies then of people just sitting up on the table, and I'm like, nope. Or reading books, stories that people weren't fully dead.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
And I'm like, no, can't do that. Because if I were to cut into somebody and they were not fully dead, nope.
Well, yeah, like they have like the muscle memory, like the brain's still active X amount of time after they're dead, and you do something and they just fucking twitch.
Yeah,
I don't know. They would have to find someone new to work there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I would shit my pants and have a heart attack.
You want a quick recommendation for a movie that I think plays into that really well is The Autopsy of Jane Doe. That movie is fucking freaky, and it takes place entirely in a morgue.
That is why I wouldn't watch it.
Oh, it's
I heard it, and I was like,
very good. It's very good. Very well.
I'm like, here I am. I'm going to watch it, and I'm like, no.
But we're talking about The Conjuring 2 today.
It doesn't have a morgue in it. It does not have a morgue in it.
Sorry, I just kind of derailed us.
Their basement's scary as fuck, though.
So this movie has the return of James Wan, who we talked about in the first Conjuring. It brings back the same writers, Chad and Carrie Hayes. And James Wan also helped write this movie. It stars Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson back again as Ed and Lorraine Warren. We have Frances O'Connor, who plays the mother. Oh, what was her name? Peggy Hodgson. We have Madison Wolfe as Janet Hodgson. We have Lauren Esposito as Margaret Hodgson. Benjamin Hay as Billy Hodgson. And Patrick McAlley as Johnny Hodgson. Simon McBurney as Morris Gross. Always thought it was Maurice, but it's Morris. And I think, and Bob Adrian as Bill Wilkins. And we'll talk about some other actors as we see certain characters in this movie. Some major, pretty much the antagonists of the movie. The music was done by Joseph Bishara again, who would then return. I mean, he also plays the demon who's in this movie as well. And it was released June 10th, 2016. And this I think was about 20 minutes longer than the first Conjuring. I think the first Conjuring was a little less than 2 hours, and this was 2 hours and 14 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It had a budget of $40 million. The wonders of horror were the low budgets. Lots of money. Because this movie made $321.8 million.
It did okay.
It did pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this movie, of course, is based on the Enfield Poltergeist event that happened back in 1977. There's been a few things made about this event before The Conjuring 2 came out. I actually watched a little miniseries. Yes, I did way more research for this episode than I usually do for this show. But it was called The Enfield Hauntings. It was on the BBC. It starred who played Peter Pettigrew in the Harry Potter movies? That guy. Spall. I think it's Timothy Spall.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm terrible with names.
But he played Morris Gross, because the events of this movie are very, very exaggerated to what the actual event was.
Of
where
course.
The Enfield Hauntings was very close to what actually happened. The Conjuring franchise is very Hollywood, where this was a British drama. So this was, at the doorstep of the event itself. So it's similar, but vastly different at the same time. You get to see different dynamics in the family. like in the Enfield hauntings, the family is very like what you would imagine a very poor family in the late 70s would be like. You know, kids are going to be kids. They're arguing all the time, you know, things like that. It's, you know, like the way that they portray Janet in that show, she is very sarcastic and just always like when they're in there investigating everything that's going on, she's just very like throwing just jabs at them all the time, like questioning everything they're doing, even though there'd be like her doing that. And then the next scene she'd be talking in, you know, a man's voice. So it just was very, very odd. But they dive more into Morris Gross's story where, you know, in this movie, he talks about how his daughter died. And that's the kind of the reason why he got into the whole thing. Well, this show shows kind of the aftermath of it all. Him actually taking this case to try to see if he can also communicate with his daughter at the same time as also helping Janet rid of the demon. Or in this case, it was just a guy who haunted the house, kind of took possession of her, and then they kind of just helped send him to the other side. Where this one plays more into, it's a demon, because it's The Conjuring. You know, there's always got to be a demon. There was no demon involved in, according to the records and the stories from the actual family, it wasn't a demon.
Yeah, it just like I watched a little bit on it earlier today. It just depends on who you talk to. Like some people, like the actual police officers are like, yeah, I watched this thing fly 4 feet, and the other people are like, it's fake as fuck.
Yeah,
you know, they're doing it for attention, and once they realize the attention they were getting, they just continue to do it. So if you're a skeptic, you know, believe what you believe. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, we talk about it. We talked about it in the Conjuring episode about the fact that Ed and Lorraine Warren are definitely not the real Ed and Lorraine Warren are not who you see on this screen. Like that's not who they really were. They weren't this super tight knit, super lovey dovey couple. There was a lot of issues with them in their marriage and you know, with their profession and what they were doing. You know, and there's a scene in this movie that kind of shows somebody calling them out, which I thought was pretty cool that they included that, especially. I guess, you know, the thing is Lorraine Warren was very involved in these movies. She didn't die, I think, until 2019. So she was still alive
very recently,
when this came out. So she, you know, she had a contract. She was helping, you know, as an advisor to the movie. So she had a lot of input. So the fact that they included that, but she was probably like, but we have to prove that it wasn't all bullshit. You know, the guy calls us out, but we gotta show that it was demons and there were things. Also, the fun fact is the Warrens literally were only involved in this case for about 1 to 2 days total. And they did nothing. Like they barely did anything. They didn't help rid the spirit of the house. No, they showed up. I think they actually, from what I've read, is that they were convinced it was fake and they left and they never went back. Morris Gross was the investigator who was there from the beginning to the end. This took place over 2 years. This was a long time for like all these crazy events that were happening. It got to the point where the family was just like, yeah, it's just kind of normal now. This is kind of our life. Come home. We say hi to I don't remember who the actual guy's name was, but just imagine just like, hey.
Bill.
Yeah, what's up, Bill?
I think the actual ghost was called Bill.
Was Bill Wilkins?
Like, Bill Wilkins. Yeah, but yeah, like going back to like the interview, like they're like, who's the older sister? What was her name again?
Margaret.
Oh, Margaret. Yeah, thank you.
How in the movie, she's like, I don't think we can ever live with this. This is so fucking weird. I don't like it. Mm-hmm. But in actuality, she's like, we're just used to it.
Yeah.
You know, it just like whatever. You know?
I was saying, it's been happening for so long. Who cares?
Bunch of phonies.
But the cool thing was this movie was filmed in Enfield, where the event takes place, which I thought was pretty cool. And the Enfield events is the longest recorded paranormal case of poltergeist activity in history. Like I said, it was over a 2-year period between, I think, 1977 and 1979, which this movie, I believe, only takes place in 1977. So
2 days.
Yeah, this movie takes place 6 years after the original Conjuring. And I talked about the infield hauntings for the Maurice Grosse, and it was based on the based on the book by Guy Lyon Playfair, who doesn't show up in this movie, even though he was also a big part of the actual event.
Do you think there was just too many characters they needed to kind of?
It could have been, because even Morris, sorry, his name is Morris, even though it's spelled Maurice. He was not that big in this movie. He kind of shows up later on, especially when the Warrens show up. But yeah, I recommend it. It's a 3-episode. It's on Amazon right now. It's 3 episodes, like 45 minutes each. It's not as eventful as this. It does have some. It is a drama, so there are some slow beats to it. Madison Wolfe, who played Janet, she was American. Yeah. Which is weird because usually you get a lot of, when you see like children in movies, it's usually British kids that just are really good at having American accents, or and that it's like usually you don't have a lot of the other way around, because probably doing other accents are really hard.
Yeah.
So cool. I never knew that. I've seen this movie a lot. And I did not know it until I did the research right before we recorded. So pretty cool.
You did a good job.
Yes, you did.
During the beginning montage, you can actually see an Exorcist 2 poster on one of the walls as there's like kids running by. It's a little shout out.
You should have wore your Exorcist shirt today. Should have worn your Exorcist shirt.
Yeah, has anyone checked out the new Exorcist trailer? I've heard great things about it.
I don't know. What are you talking about? I don't know anything about this.
Oh, David Gordon Green's Exorcist that comes out this year?
Didn't know anything about it.
It's a direct sequel, right? And that's what they're pitching
it as?
It
is yes, because it's got Linda Blair and the mom, who I can't think of her name.
It's so bad I can't find it. I've watched like 4 or 5 like fan-made shits.
Really?
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, I can't find the actual trailer that dropped.
Wow, that's not
good.
No, that's not.
Patrick Wilson, he actually sings in that scene that we see in the movie of him singing the other song. Yes,
he was in. He was in
Phantom of the Opera.
Phantom of the Opera. Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah, he can sing.
And Vera Farmiga, she got a swollen lymph node from screaming so much during the filming of this movie.
Damn,
when she was doing press for it, she talked about it. She had to do like 40 or 50 takes of one scream in one of the scenes. And I think it's probably the opening scene.
Damn.
The opening
in the basement, yeah.
Yeah. So that sucks.
Yeah.
No fun.
So yeah, I said it had a budget of $40 million. In the US, it made $102 million by itself. At its opening weekend, it made back its budget, but it made $321 million, which is just crazy for a horror movie. But
it's not too bad if you're like opening week, we cleared our budget. All right, then it's all gold. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, advertising, but
yeah. I mean, this is a studio horror movie, and it's already an established franchise, so it's not totally surprising. I mean, The Conjuring did really well. Annabelle did well, even though the movie's not great. It still brought in a lot of money, and and that's why they would just keep on pumping these babies out, and that's why we're going to keep talking about them. All right. Well, before we get to the plot, let's talk about our experiences watching this movie before we recorded this. So we're going to start with our Dustin. Usually we start with our guests, but I really want to know.
That's fine with me.
How
That's totally fine with me.
It was watching this one. Dan, would you like to start?
I'm not going to get too hyped for this, and this is going to be like
disappointing. It's going to be like, it was fine. I had a good time.
No,
all I can say is put your monocle on.
Anyway, no. Well, trying to think of how I can word this to make it sound riveting.
Riveting.
It was.
Bring out your thesaurus now.
It was a good time. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I mean, I don't want to say that like the experience was good. I know. My experience was good. It was solid. I was engaged in this more than I was previous films. The previous film, I should say. But no, I didn't have any major complications with this one. I was actually much more, unless maybe I'm becoming slightly more numb to it. but I was much more not attempting to distract myself for most of the film. So yeah.
I do have recordings of him. He's like, "You're not going to get anything out of me."
Yeah, literally. I finished putting a couple decks together. Does that matter? No, I wasn't I was like watching the film. So I was pretty engaged in what was going on. So I was interested.
All right.
I want to know how it panned out.
I had a little bit of distraction just because our 9-year-old was down here watching this with us, he kept,
Dad, check this out, Dad.
He kept asking.
Let me know what I missed, and leaves.
Yes, he left like 3 times. He's like, "Let me know what I miss." But our bed is right here. So he's over there sitting, and he's like whispering things that are going on. I'm like, "Dude, you got to stop. I can't."
Playing with a little Nerf gun, like reaches his hand to the back of the chair here to touch my back. I'm like, "Dude, what are you doing?"
He's like, at one point he had his arm around Dan with his hand in his pocket, like whispering, like, "What happened? Is he dead? Die? I think he's gonna die." I'm like, "Dude," I'm like, "Shh," for 5 seconds. Here I am. I'm like, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. He's like, "What's going on? What happened?" I'm like, "Stop whispering." But I definitely enjoyed watching this one more than the first one.
The experience was pretty solid.
Experience, yeah, was definitely better. I wasn't so like, what's gonna happen? Like,
yeah,
like who's back there? I did when we were done have to go to the bathroom, and I'm like, do I open the shower curtain and see if anybody's back there? I
just started
like,
peeing on the wall while you're going to the bathroom.
I would have just peed in the hallway because I'd be like, "Nope, not going in there."
That's it.
Nope. But definitely enjoyed this watching experience.
All right. Dustin.
So this one is my absolute favorite out of this whole franchise. It deals with 2 actual events, which I think is really fascinating. Like we all know about the Amityville stuff. And then when you research on the Enfield stuff, you're like, "Oh, cool. Yeah, it's tight." But Valak is such a striking character, and everything that they do with this character in this movie is interesting. I love the zero talking. Every time Valak's on screen, it's terrifying. Like something is about to happen. And the pacing of this movie, like you're never sitting there not wondering what's about to happen or what's going to happen later, or damn, this scene is dragging too long. It doesn't, for it being 20 minutes longer than the first one, the pacing is very well.
Oh yeah. Very well.
And I always do this thing ever since the first Insidious. Like what I'll do is I'll watch the movie for the first time, and then the second time I watch what's going on in the movie. You know, because there's things you pick up later. Like it's like, oh fuck, I didn't even see that the first time, or why? You just learn more and more as you're watching them. But this one is a banger. It's of the franchise. The Conjuring 2 is my number 1.
Yeah, this movie's awesome. This movie to me is, not to play my hand early, but this is
don't play your hand early.
Do you want me to?
This is your experience watching it.
No, I enjoy this movie a lot. I like this movie a lot. This movie's great, and watching it again just keep continuing to show me how great it is. The best part of watching this movie is my wife's reaction to the anything that when the nun is on screen, any of that. She is literally like, "Oh, okay, yep, yep, sure." And then like my son would try to walk, and she's like, "Don't look at the TV. Just walk to the bathroom." Just the reaction.
Like a little thing, like a blanket held up. Like
there are some great.
You just get a big bar that says censored across it.
There are some moments in this movie that still get me, and I've seen this movie quite a bit since it was released. So if it can still do those things after multiple viewings, then I think it does a great job. But yeah, actually we'll talk about Valak once we get to it in the movie, because I do want to talk a little bit about the actual demon that it's based on, because it is based on a real demon. They do like to play with, they don't like to make things up in this series. Well, they do make a lot of things up in these series, but I mean, like the demons that they use as the antagonists are based on actual demons.
Sure.
So this movie starts with the Amityville case. Everybody knows the Amityville horror, the Amityville, New York case that was it 1976 was the movie. But the events I think took place in 1973 or 4. But yeah, this is Lorraine talks about how this is, even though the Lutzes were, even though the Lutzes went through what they went through, this is like the strongest presence she's ever felt. Yeah, so for anybody who doesn't know anything about the Amityville case, it is about Ronnie DeFeo. He murdered his entire family in the house, and during his trial, he pretty much stated that one of the things he stated was that he was possessed during the whole thing, which is kind of where the movie goes off. Is there's a demon that's in the house, and it fucks with George Lutz, who is the father. And then bad shit happens and they leave. And then, so Ed and Lorraine, they come in afterwards she does a seance. And of course it's a really cool scene because it's her going through every bedroom of the DeFeo or of the DeFeos and like, killing the entire family. And then you see them like pass by a mirror and you see Ronnie in the mirror. I really like this scene a lot. Just FYI, the Amityville case was a bunch of bullshit. Literally, George Lutz, that man, he had a very vivid imagination. Even Roddy DeFeo literally said, it was just he used so many excuses. So it's one of those things where if you want to know more about the Roddy DeFeo case, you should listen to our good friend Ashley over at a Lullaby the Fear podcast, because she released an amazing episode on Ronnie DeFeo and the Amityville case. So
it's so good.
Go listen.
I thought you were about to tell me to go to a website.
No.
If you want to learn more about this case, go to this website.
No, I have listened to everything that she has done, and I keep checking. I'm like, when's she gonna release something else? Yeah.
I don't want to go too deep because I feel like I'm going to get something wrong. So if you want to know everything that has to do with this case, go listen to her episode on Ronnie DeFeo and the Amityville case, because it is fucking, all of her episodes are fantastic, but there you go. So yeah, she goes through this whole experience. She then goes to the basement where she finds, you see like the kids are showing her a mirror. And then the mirror, she sees a really creepy ass nun standing behind her. And then she looks behind her, of course, nothing there. And then she looks, nothing there. And then the nun kind of just shows up. And then you see like stuff crash. And then there's like a shadow figure in the back. And then like his neck bends back. And you're like, whoa. And then she screams really loud. And that's it. And then she's kind of
enjoy this whole scene.
This is great opening.
The whole, like, every time their heads turn, it's a jerk move and they all do it at the same time.
Yep.
And it's so suspenseful. Like you're waiting for something that's not there. Mm-hmm. I had myself worked up. I was like, something's going to happen. And it didn't. And I'm like,
Can I complain? Because I'm going to complain.
You always complain.
Why the fuck does this look like just like the basement in the first damn movie?
It kind of does.
It's like dirty ass, poorly lit basement with furniture all over the fucking place.
Yeah. Hey man, it was the 70s. It was a weird time.
Here's the thing though, is if you've, I don't know if they really cared for details, but like if they watched the Amityville Horror, there's a lot of scenes in that movie. And if you've seen the 2005 remake, the one with Ryan Reynolds, which to be honest, I actually enjoy, even though Ryan Reynolds shouldn't have played George Lutz, because if you've ever seen a real picture of George Lutz, I'll put it on the screen. Well, not for you guys, but for everybody else. He was not Ryan Reynolds.
He wasn't. He wasn't James Brolin either.
He was, but he was closer to James Brolin than he was to Ryan Reynolds. Okay,
that's a handsome fella,
right? Fun.
But this scene right here is like one of my favorite scenes, dude, because you get that fucking iconic graphic of that kid peeking around the corner.
Yeah,
like that.
The eyes.
Dude. There are 2 scenes in this movie that I get pumped for, and this is one of them. Because, like Angela said, like the whole in sequence jerking, like the 1 frame per second thing is fucking rad. And this little kid goes, that's the image everyone knows from the Amityville case. And seeing it like that, like, it's scary as fuck, dude. And it's top notch.
Yeah, like I'm sitting here, like when we watch stuff in our room, I'm usually playing a game because my hands always have to be moving. So here I am, I'm like playing my game and I'm like, I was like, I can't look away. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. It was definitely me holding on to my chair. Like, what the hell's going to happen?
Yeah. And Lorraine's line is great where she's like, this is the closest to hell I've ever been. And then we go to London town. Where we get London calling. We get a whole montage.
Dude, all the music in this. It was so good.
Just like the first one.
Yeah, so good.
The second song is my favorite out of these 2. Or the 3 they play. But 3?
I don't think I wrote them down.
I know what the second one is.
We meet the Hodgins.
We had to look it up.
We meet the Hodgins. The first ones we meet is Janet and her friend something. I can't remember. But her friend was smoking.
Something.
Yeah, she had a friend.
It was like Kathy or something.
Something like that. Yeah. So one of them is smoking, hands a cigarette to Janet. And so Janet's holding the cigarette and she gets caught.
Listen.
Marty.
Janet.
That's all I can think of is damn it, Janet.
I just think of now that you say that, it just makes me think of, because it's the episode from SpongeBob where Patrick's parents come. Janet, Marty, who are you people? People come that are his parents, but they're not his parents.
I remember that. Yeah. It's like Stuart Little. Remember the live action Stuart Little?
Yes. But girl would have burnt her hand the way she was holding that cigarette. Just saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying she was holding it for a friend. It's not her cigarette.
No.
That's what she says later.
The girl that's giving it to Janet, she holds it like this, and the whole lit part is in her palm, and I'm like, yeah,
so hot.
That ain't no real cigarette.
I just love that the teacher takes it and takes a puff.
Yeah,
gotta deal with these shitty kids.
Take a drag off that cigarette, dude.
Oh, listen, if you've had that many kids at one time, you probably would be smoking too.
Very true.
I wouldn't.
So we meet the rest of the kids. We have Janet, we have Margaret, who's the oldest. We have Johnny, who I think is younger than Janet. And then yeah. Here's the funny thing. In the Enfield that show I watched, I can't even remember, the Enfield Hauntings. Johnny's not even in the show till like the very last half of the last episode, because they say that he is in a correctional school. It's like for troubled boys.
Johnny, you a troubled boy?
Yeah, then he just
like, what the fuck is happening here?
Then he just shows up in the last half of the last episode. I was like, oh, okay.
And that kind of happens in this movie.
And then in this movie, he's literally in 2 scenes.
I
know. There. I was like, who the fuck is this?
They say his name later, and I'm like,
Johnny who?
Okay, Johnny. Okay. I don't know. Maybe like
name.
the actual guy didn't want to be be a prominent part of it, but I don't know. But then there's Billy, who he gets bullied because he has a stutter, and I'm like,
that's shit. Don't do that.
Hate people, man.
Don't do that.
So the family, they're on tough times. They're very poor. And, of course they come home and the mother is like on the phone arguing with somebody probably over a bill, and the kids come home, and I like how Billy's like asking for, biscuits. Yes. And she's like, I didn't get any biscuits. He's like, why? But you said you would. She's like, I have no money. You paid money to buy things. It's like, oh, sorry. And
that doesn't tell you though that they are poor. Like there's certain scenes that make you wonder if they didn't like film this in a rundown apartment building or something, because like there's light switches missing and they're there 1 minute and they're not the next. I'm like,
I mean,
okay.
I believe it. I believe that this is what a house for, underprivileged people. Is that a word? Did I just make a word? Underprivileged?
I feel like their situation currently is because of dad leaving.
Yeah.
Like they're
definitely.
They're in that predicament because he left.
Yeah.
Child maintenance fees.
That son of a bitch.
With her telling them that he took certain things, makes you wonder that he didn't have the money and just did whatever.
And they said that she's got twins with a woman around the corner. Like, he didn't even move that far. He's just, hey, take care of your kids, you piece of shit.
Yeah. But I feel like that's like a metaphor with the music, because she's like, when he moved, he took the music with him, and that was like the livelihood of the family, and then he just took that shit, and now they're down in the dumps, could see better days.
So we find out that Janet has like a homemade Ouija board, and you're like, oh boy, a Ouija board. Nothing ever good happens when a Ouija board shows up in the movie.
They've cut out letters from a magazine.
Yeah.
And like copy paste.
Sometimes when you don't got the money, you got to make your own Ouija board. Okay. Anyway.
So her and sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say this is the best song of the movie we actually get.
Oh,
it's
Bus Stop.
Bus Stop by
the Hollies.
The Hollies. It's a fucking wonderful song. I heard it a trillion times. Like growing up, I was like, this shit rocks. Like, I'm fucking in this movie. So good. I fucking love that song.
Sometimes the music makes a movie. Like, make or break.
The soundtrack was phenomenal in the first Conjuring. We already talked about that.
Yeah, because they choose good songs from the time.
Yes, they do.
So while the kids are sleeping, you hear some very eerie whistling happening from downstairs. And Janet then just wakes up downstairs, like in front of the chair. And she's like, what the fuck? And Margaret hears pounding at the door, and she opens it and no one's there. But then Janet comes around the corner, and so she just assumes it's Janet. So kind of nothing happens with that. So yeah, this is where you see how bad this house is, because the mom's doing laundry and like the pipe like bursts on the washing machine. But you also see behind there's a fucking pond in their basement, man. Like,
dude, yes.
I'm like, she's gonna get electrocuted or something. Like, why would you do your laundry when you've got water over here? Do they not know about electrocution?
No,
like,
there's no concern that there is this much water in their basement.
No, we'll talk about this later. I have words.
So we then jump back to the Warrens, who are on live TV, and they're being called out by a skeptic, and he is not being very nice. He is literally telling them they are frauds. He's like, yeah, literally Ed goes into any house and just says, oh, it's haunted. And I was like, yeah, that's most ghost hunting shows too. Zach Bagans. This place is haunted. You're like,
there's just a washing machine. It's just out of balance.
Listen, I say that, but I love watching Ghost Adventures just because those guys are just so ridiculous. They're like, did you hear that? Did you hear that? And you actually hear something, and they just run, and you're like, aren't you there to figure shit out? Like, why are you running all the time? It's more entertaining than Ghost Hunters that like always disproved things, but they were like, did you hear that? And you're like, no, I didn't. No. What did you hear? And then it's like, okay, and thanks guys for joining us in that investigation. I went, what the fuck just happened for an hour? Nothing. Nothing.
Either
happened.
That or did you see that? I'm like, see what?
Nothing.
It's like, dark. Turn the fucking lights up.
Yo, look at that infrared camera. Oh, do you see that little flicker? Yep, that's a ghost. You're like,
I saw nothing.
I think that's here. He goes, sweet sick tats, bro.
Nice cock.
Whoa! That must be a prison.
I heard you were caulking here.
Yes.
That was in the old
everybody
brothel.
Quit talking so loud. We're trying to listen to ghosts.
That was the old brothel.
We're never gonna get off of that one.
No. So
it's a good one. That's shirt worthy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, we're caulking here. It'd be a rooster.
There's
the rooster from Food of the Cow.
It's gonna have a pitchfork in its neck and it's like dissect that film. Yes, yes. Please.
Ideas.
She's writing this down.
I gotta write this down. Hang on.
So yeah, the Warrens get called out. The Lutzes, of course, the real accusations of the Lutzes faking the Amityville case. All of that. They like even the guys like it was proven that the Lutzes faked it. Like it wasn't. Nothing actually happened. And I love how Lorraine's just sitting there like, okay, and Ed's just getting angry. He's like, yeah, what have you done lately, bud?
Ed's fixing to whoop some ass.
Yeah.
Like, fuck yeah, dude.
I'm gonna fucking beat someone's ass. So we then are back over in London, where Jana is helping Billy with his speech with a very creepy box called the Crooked Man box that sings the Crooked Man song. And I'm like, what? What?
Britain's fun.
Why do kids like these creepy ass things, man?
So I learned this rhyme when I was a kid, and I never really
This was an actual rhyme. What?
Yeah, I never thought about it being creepy until this movie. And I'm like, well, fuck. This is where it all started.
So there is a house in Lavenham, England that is called the Crooked House. It's literally a house where the first level is fine if the second level is kind of crooked. And then there was a man named Alexander Leslie who was reputed to be the Crooked Man. He was from Scotland. But yeah, the rhyme came out in 1842.
You have it pulled up?
But you don't think about.
It's called. There was. Oh, sorry. I was gonna wait until we got to this. Well, actually, I can do it now. So there was a crooked man, and he went a crooked mile. He found a crooked sixpence against a crooked stile. He bought a crooked cat, which caught a crooked mouse, and they all lived together in a little crooked house. But that's the thing. I don't think that's how it goes in this movie. That's not the way it goes.
It's a little bit different, I think, because of the toy that they have.
Maybe, yeah.
They went with whatever the toy says.
Yeah.
But it's like certain things that you hear as a kid, and you don't ever think about them being not happy. Like
Ring Around the Rosie.
Ring Around the Rosie. You don't ever think about that not being happy. You sing it in a happy,
It's about the Black Death, right?
Yeah, it's about the plague.
Yeah.
Okay, so the one in the movie is there was a crooked man, and he walked a crooked mile. The crooked man stepped forth and rang the crooked bell, and thus his crooked soul spiraled into a crooked hell, murdered his crooked family, and laughed a crooked laugh.
That's the
one later that the ghost says.
Yeah, you don't.
There's another version.
I was gonna say that one doesn't even rhyme. Like, what the fuck?
No. Well,
make it scary. Fuck the rhyming.
Yeah.
Didn't even make any sense.
But it's definitely like I heard it and I was like, well, that is
I think the one that
not supposed to be creepy.
Yeah,
but
the one I stated earlier, that's the one that they say. But yeah, this is to help him with his stuttering. But it's creepy because it's one of those boxes. I can't remember what are these. Does anyone know what these are called? The things that spin around and like makes the pictures move.
I know what they are because they used to show pictures on them. Picture shows like before movies.
Yeah. But and you see the crooked man figure like walking, and I'm like, that's terrifying.
Walking and then murdering his family. Yeah.
Yeah. So we then see during the night, Janet is talking to somebody in her sleep, and Margaret is freaked out. And if I was Margaret, I'd be the same way. I'd be like, what the fuck is happening? Because Janet is talking to somebody in the corner, and I love the way that they shoot this, where it's just darkness. Like you're like, someone is in there.
That's what I said. I was like, that corner's too fucking dark. You ever watching this? Like, that shit ain't right.
That corner is just too spooky.
Yeah. And so, of course, she goes over there. She's like, Janet, there's no one there. Go back to sleep. So she goes back to sleep, and she goes back to bed, and she doesn't turn off the light. She's like, fuck that. But then later, was it later on when she starts talking like with the deep voice? She's like, this is my house.
That is late. Yeah, no, she does. She doesn't turn the light off and then rolls over. And when she rolls over, she's standing there yelling that.
Yeah, this is my house. So she's like, what the fuck?
Yep.
Stop calling me. I don't care about my car's extended warranty.
Yeah. I've paid my 1 cent a day for these CDs.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. Oh. So the toy is called a zoetrope.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, because it's a big piece of Nope, the movie Nope.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying it's a nope for this movie. That's a big nope.
It's a hard.
I mean, that's a big nope for me having it in my house.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
No, because it'd be like those the speak and spell.
Yeah.
Triton.
I would not want something like that in my house.
dude,
Just randomly starts talking like.
There's always the Furby for me, man. The Furby always talked on its own without batteries, and that was like, this is definitely a conduit for evil.
I had a Snoopy doll that you could put a tape in the back of.
Cassettes, yeah.
Cassette tape. Oh yeah, I was like, no.
That's terrifying.
It went in the dumpster the first time it talked by itself. I was like, nope.
So I'm guessing it's the same night, but Billy gets messed with his fire truck. And because the fire truck, he steps on it, it starts going off. He turns it off and pushes it into his tent. He's got like a tent made up at the end of the hall. And then he goes back into his room and he checks like 3 or 4 times. Nothing happens until he lays down, and then the fire truck blasts into his room.
You can hear it before he gets into bed. It goes off and he looks. This would be me.
Yeah.
But I would not do what he did.
This scene plays off of because his mom's like, don't eat too many of those biscuits or you're gonna be fucking thirsty.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not gonna do it. Then he gets up in the middle of the night, walks
and he
downstairs.
does it anyways. He's a kid.
Yeah, he gets up, he walks downstairs, and this is the first time it's one of those things where you see him walking down the stairs, but if you looked like over there in the movie, you see Bill Wilkins sitting there.
Yes, you see the shadow.
Yeah, we pointed that out.
I love that shit, dude. I love that. Like this franchise of movies, I just love seeing the shit, what's going on behind the movie.
Where it's not like, hey, did you see that? And it was like, no, you need to pay attention or you're gonna miss it.
Or you'll miss it. Yep.
Yeah. So we then see mom wakes up because Billy freaks out because of the fire truck. And she goes downstairs because she hears something, and Janet is sitting in the old ass recliner. And I'm like, why is this thing still here? Why do they still own this chair?
I love the reason when they give it. I love the reason.
Yeah.
I noticed because I was like, what? Like, well, I'll talk to it in a minute. You keep going.
Well, the first time you see her when she wakes up, I didn't even think she was in the same house because she gets up and it's this old ass chair, but behind her on the wall, I'm like, is this the same house? I thought she woke up in some like abandoned until she sat up and I see the rest of the house and I was like, okay, something is going on with this part of the house because it looks different.
It looks evil.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought somebody had caught fire. I'm like,
yeah, it kind of looks like it.
Yeah.
So she determines, you don't feel very good, so you're going to stay home from school. So she stays home from school, and someone is messing with the TV. She's watching TV. The channels are changing. She's, trying to fix it. Then it starts getting staticky. Then the remote just disappears. She finds it on the chair, takes it, messes with the TV again until she's like really close to the TV, and the TV just stops working, and she sees somebody sitting in the chair, which freaks her out.
Yep.
There's a couple things I want to note in this scene. Before that, like when it cuts to her the next day, because it goes to outside.
Yep.
The camera's on, and it zooms out into her sitting on the couch.
Yep.
And I was like, fucking beautiful, amazing cinematography in this movie. It's fucking great.
Shout out to Don Burgess, the cinematographer of this movie.
He's fucking stellar. But I didn't notice Angela did before I did, but all the paint behind the old chair is all fucked up.
That's where I said I thought somebody had caught
burned.
fire.
Yeah,
and I was like, I didn't notice. It's like it pans around the room. I was like, this room doesn't look crazy good, but like specifically like right here, not so much here,
the whole
here, right here. There. Thank you. Nope.
What happened to your room? I knew it.
Dang it, Richard.
Oh my god, I'm looking at this. So Don Burgess is the cinematographer. He did Forrest Gump. He did Spider-Man 2002, Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines.
Oh, I bet you did that tit shot.
That's
probably 100%. Polar Express. Okay.
Perfect.
The Muppets and The Muppets Most Wanted.
I love the Muppets.
And
solid ass movie.
And
the Muppets versus Frankenstein's monster. That's a good one.
Pinocchio 2022.
Oh fuck! That was. We just don't even.
I'm sorry. I'm feeling nauseous. The movie's fucking trash. Yeah. So there you go. That's the cinematographer for this movie.
Well, the whole scene with her on the phone with her mom.
Yeah.
When she finds the remote and she's just staring at it, I'm like, I feel the same way.
Everything's cool, Mom. Yep,
yeah.
All right,
like,
see you later.
Because she's like, do you know how long you're gonna be?
Yeah. That's how I do.
Like,
are you coming home soon?
Can you come home now?
Please? I don't have a problem. The remote for the cancer box keeps floating around the room because it looks like you need like a radioactive core in that remote.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember remotes as a kid not being like that.
I just thought of fucking.
So we had a console TV as a kid. If any of you grew up with a console TV,
Angela,
huge.
Everyone had a console TV back in the day.
No, like we had one it was huge. You wouldn't know.
You weren't even there.
You're just big.
How old do you think I'm in my 30s, okay? I had a console TV when I was a kid. I grew up with people who grew up in the 60s.
Okay.
Plastic on furniture and all.
you would know. So we had one that was gold.
The remote?
No, the TV was gold.
Well, I'm sorry you were so fucking rich, girl.
No. It was this ugly yellow color, and I'm like, somebody threw up something. Yeah, somebody threw up something, and it was just like mustard. That nasty mustard gold yellow, and I'm like, ugh.
Dude, go ahead.
But I remember our remote; it was huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those big.
And I was like,
fire up the reactor.
You were definitely feeling the radiation travel through you as you're like.
I was like,
I can feel it.
Damn. Because I'm wondering, I'm like, how the hell did she lose it? You don't lose those.
Because
and here she is
Bill
looking
had other plans for it.
But here she is looking in between the cushions. I'm like, it ain't gonna be there.
The whole time you guys are talking about this, I'm just thinking of like Pacific Rim. Like, we can use Gypsy. She's an old manual model. She's got a nuclear reactor for a core. I was like, yes! Need two people to push the buttons on the remote simultaneously.
What it was is Bill Wilkins was watching TV and she changed it, and his eye was like, I'm not sleeping, and took the remote.
I was watching that.
My dad would do the same thing. We would turn it. He's like, watching that. And I'm like, no, you're not. Can you see through your eyelids?
I never told my dad, no, you weren't. It was more like, okay, sorry.
All right, shut the fuck up, Dad.
Listen, I was the baby of 4 kids. I was the personal remote. Can you go change the channel? Like, no, your legs aren't broken.
You also place like beers and shit on the top of your head. Oh, I thought you were an end table.
No, my parents didn't drink. No, I had to fix the antenna. Like, is it okay? Can you no?
During a lightning storm, get up there and fix it, damn it.
I can't get channel 6.
Does it look? Can you see anything? Turn it to the left a little bit.
Put aluminum foil on it.
Yes, we did that too.
Put aluminum foil on the antennas, baby.
So
I always thought growing up that's what you used aluminum foil for, not for cooking.
Well, no, it was either for the antenna or your head.
Yeah. So she sees him in the reflection of the TV, but then when she turns around, he shows up behind the TV. He's like, "My house!" And she screams.
Yeah, she turns around, and then the remote's like in midair. Like,
yes,
and
it just drops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He just wanted to watch his political crap.
Yeah,
he wanted to watch the Queen.
He did.
Wheel of Fortune was on. I mean, goddamn.
Listen, I would have wanted to watch Wheel of Fortune.
He was watching Maury. Leave Maury on.
7 p.m. to 8 p.m. was Wheel of Fortune, and then Jeopardy, and I watched it religiously every single day for years.
That's what we watched at dinner time.
Yeah, of course. Not this weekend, but the previous weekend, I literally just downloaded Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune on the Xbox. My cousin plays.
Oh yeah,
there you go. You gotta. I need to play Jeopardy to kind of like, hopefully fix my stupid brain.
I see that, or it's gonna make you feel a lot worse. Like,
it's gonna make you feel worse. Do what we do. watch the kid version. Then you get all the questions right.
I don't even know about that one.
Even then, sometimes I'm like, well, I don't remember.
Oh, you smarter than a fifth grader? No, because those questions are bullshit.
Yeah. They just learned that shit. It was a long fucking time for me. I don't need that shit to flip a hamburger, all right?
So Ed, we are back with the Warrens, and Lorraine wakes up. She goes out, and Ed is painting. And she's like, oh, what are you painting? He's like, oh, I had a dream about something, and I decided to come out and paint it. And then she sees it, and it's the creepy-ass nun. I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Like, I shouldn't go dream.
That's a nightmare.
You know that, right?
And you can just see it on her face, like, what the fuck?
Well, there's another, like, they pan by that, like, which I think it's when she's like walking either to him painting, or it's when we get the super cool reveal later. There's a painting of like the cover of the first Conjuring movie, like the house with the tree.
Was it in the scene? I thought it was in the scene where she goes into his office.
So it's that scene.
See it's the Conjuring house with the tree.
But it's but it's one of those. It's cool because it's symbolism.
Yeah, it's like remember that, remember that, guys, remember that. And you're like, yes, I did.
But you don't really see him drawing or painting or anything until this, and I'm like, well, where did that come from?
This is a new thing. This is 6 years later.
No, that was apparently like an Ed Warren thing, though. Like he would sketch out the house that he's like working on.
That's how they started.
But it would have been cool if he had done that in the first one. Like,
that's why we see the painting now. I think maybe I don't know.
Yeah, so it would have been cool. Like in the first one, had he been like doodling or something as they're like talking or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, he's a painter, he's a priest, he's a fucking mechanic, he fixes houses, he's a ghost hunter.
He's a jack of all trades and master of none.
Exactly. He knows a little about a lot.
People who knew Ed are like, who the fuck do you think this guy was?
Plays music? No, he doesn't. Get the fuck out of here.
No, but Ed and Lorraine actually started by going around and finding like creepy looking houses, and Ed would draw them and then try to sell them to the owners, and then they would kind of welcome them in, and then they, of course, Lorraine would do her clairvoyance stuff, or she did the Professor.
They're like vampires.
I sense ghosts, and they're like, oh, really? And they're like, yes, with my mind.
Charles,
get out of my head, Charles.
Yes.
So after
my head, Charles.
after she sees the painting or picture, or whatever. She's like, yeah, I don't think we should do any new cases. This is not good. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna still do them behind your back, though.
Don't be such a fucking buzzkill, brain. God.
Yeah. Well, this is a callback to the first movie, because you know how at the end of the first movie you get like the other case where they're working on. It's like this case took a huge chunk out of fucking Lorraine's mental stability. That's playing off of that shit because of the 3 knocks we got on the girl's door during this movie. Mm-hmm. Plays off of the 3 knocks from Bathsheba in the first movie, which, Valak had his hands in this shit since that one big episode she had that took a huge toll on her. Yeah. And that's why she's like, all right, let's fucking not do this shit, dude. Yeah, because, it's the knocks of 3s is a demon taunting the Trinity, the Holy Trinity, and which is a thing that's used in a lot of actual investigations now. It's like, oh, did you hear that? Did you hear the knocks? It was in 3.
Listen, if I hear 3 knocks at this house, I'm burning it down and we're leaving. Like, I don't care what the hell's in here.
Say leave, then burn it.
Yeah, leave. No, I'm leaving.
We need a dramatic escape.
Right through the window. Slow motion running out of the house.
Little pig, let me in the pen.
So
go ahead. No, just go.
So Janet ties herself to the bed because of all of her sleepwalking. But it all changes really quickly when she hears a knock at the door. Like, she unties herself, walks to her bedroom door when it knocks, and then she explores the house. She's yelling to all of her family, and I'm like, none of her family hears this. Like, it's not a big house, and I feel like it's a very noisy house. Where she's like, Billy, Mom,
I'm gonna get.
To be honest, if I was the mom, I'd be like, just fucking pretend,
No, the first time. But the first time her kids scream,
yeah,
it takes her forever to wake up. Like, if my kids are screaming, I'm hearing that shit.
It's like, fuck, Janet's having another episode. Just roll over. She'll stop eventually.
So she
Janet's
goes
walking around. She goes, I made my family disappear.
Yeah, I'm sitting here wondering. We're like, is there anybody else in the house? Because here she is. Nobody's making a sound. Even her sister in the same room is like dead.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just gonna keep screaming.
Yeah.
Like,
she puts like a door or a chair that's in the room. She puts it up against the door, and as soon as she goes to bed, the chair is right next to her bed again, and she looks and the door is opening. And then what happens?
You hear the chair move.
Yeah.
And you don't see it until it's right by her bed, and I'm like, oh fuck.
And
here we go.
The entity attacks her, bites her on the arm, and
on the
or no, not on the arm. Yes, it bites her like on the shoulder, which is one of those places where you're like, well, she clearly didn't do it to herself. I feel like that's a lot of times where like people be like, oh, look, it bit me, and it's like, oh, you mean the easy part where you can literally bite yourself?
You can't. Like, I could bite my shoulder maybe, but I cannot bite.
Unhinges like a snake.
Neck elongate.
That's what I imagine.
It's a fucking squid guy from one of the Pirates movies.
Yes.
Right.
No. Hey, kids these days
are very flexible.
The girls earlier were talking about her. Janet's friend was talking about she's going to let a boy French kiss her.
Yeah.
Like, here I am thinking, man, these kids are very... Yeah. Well, maybe she had somebody with her. No, Mom, I didn't.
No. So, yeah, she gets attacked. The bed starts shaking. The mom, or they're screaming, so the mom runs in. She's like, oh, stop it. You guys are crazy. Yeah. She finds the Ouija board under the bed, rips it up. She's like, you guys gotta stop playing with these things and just go to bed. And then she turns around and the whole dresser just slides up against the door. And that's when she's like, oh, shit, something's happening.
Oh,
fuck this shit, I'm out.
Yeah. I mean, literally, right out the window. You can't get out the door.
Fuck your kids. You just dive out the upstairs window.
Emergency exit.
Land the tree out front. Deuces, motherfuckers. I'm going to hang out with your dad around the corner.
Yeah, it literally shows them running out the front door. They're like, yeah, bye.
If it's dark, twisted, and mysterious, then I want to dissect every possible explanation as to why it is. I want to understand the dark psychology of the most dangerous serial killers, from the day they were born to the moment they snapped. I want to examine every cryptic conspiracy, and even delve into the haunted paranormal. Join me, Ashley Lana, as I explore the obscure. This is Lullaby the Fear Podcast. Sweet dreams are made of these.
The cops show up.
And so all this time they can get out the door, but nobody else can get in when the demon's in the same room.
It just moved it. It wasn't like forcing them in there. It just slid it across. You could easily.
You don't know when demons shut doors, they lock 17 imaginary locks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Like you can get out when the dresser
a spell down there, the fucking witches.
Hey, if you have ever moved furniture from the 70s, it's not easy. It's heavy.
Yeah, but like she's strong lass. She can just.
She's sitting there staring at the door like nothing happened. Like it happened, but she's just like.
Oh, she was staring at the door because she was in fucking shock. Did you see her face? Yeah. Her eyes were glossed over. She was like, "What?" And
she can't move that.
I mean, you see how easily the demon moved it?
Like, excuse me, Mr. Demon, could you move that out of the way?
Yeah, do me a solid. Yeah. I need to go that way.
Yeah. I need you to move it back where it was so we can leave. Like
the feng shui of the room is off now. Thanks.
Listen,
that's a big thing.
Your fish got some big fucking eyes. Nice fish. Big Bad Boys 2 reference right there. So yeah, the cops show up. I love how the neighbor, I'm guessing it's just a neighbor across the way, calls the cops and no one's home. Cops are just like knocking on the door, like no one there.
Bunch of fucking bobbies. What's all this then?
No.
Shows up. Oh, God's poking shit with my little club.
I'm like, why the fuck are they not on the door? Nobody's there. They're all across the
Get out of here.
You damn delinquents.
Like, fucking hell.
To all of our UK listeners, we apologize for our terrible accent.
Don't worry, it's gonna get a lot worse. Don't worry.
I'm just here.
I don't even dare try and do any kind of accents.
Let's hear it, Angela. Go for it. Just do it.
All I can do is a Southern accent. That's it.
But you want to throw a little Cockney in there?
Did you say the only thing you can do is a Southern accent when that's how you talk?
Yeah.
No, she used to be much more.
Can you do an American accent?
Can you do like how I sound?
America has multiple accents.
Bye.
North. Can you do a Western Massachusetts boring ass accent? It's just nothing.
I can do the New York, the car park. And that's about it.
The car park.
That just makes me think of the opening of Jaw.
Yeah. The car.
Oh my god,
damn
dude.
It. If you
shut
keep
up,
making
Dustin.
me laugh,
shut up. We mentioned Jaws, and he's like, "Oh, I mean, I can Jaws. Make my. Let me tell you about Jaws."
That won't be the last time, I assure you. So.
Listen, I work with a lot of people that are from the South. I can make myself sound more Southern than what I already am. No,
it actually blends in with the locals.
No. Ask him. We lived. He's from Nebraska.
I am.
We lived there for 4
If all of our listeners didn't know that already.
I know how to speak corn.
I lived there for 4 years. I fucking hell. It's got the juice.
I'm waiting for my son's face to just poke out of his bedroom. Are you singing the corn song?
No, like I hated how I sounded because people are like, "Oh, you're not from around here, are you?" I'm like, "Fuck no, I'm not." But then he had a professor at apparently not Earth.
There seems to be no signs of intelligent life anywhere.
I taught myself to talk not fucking hell. Get out of here.
All right, guys. 3 hours. 3 hours later.
I taught myself how to not sound so Southern because I hated people pointing it out. Hey, you're not from around here.
Did you have that really? South. Did you have a drawl when you
I said oil.
Oh.
Yes. Now I don't anymore.
Now you don't even enunciate. It's just like a.
But he had a professor at UNL that was from Tennessee, and I'm like, yes, I kind of fit in.
No, you did.
People.
Just with him, I was like, oh, yes. So I didn't feel so bad.
Listen, my favorite thing that a Southern person has ever done is try to say my state. My mom worked at a Cracker Barrel down in North Carolina, and her boss had a super drawl, man. How you doing, everybody? And I was like, and they'd be like, hey, where are you from? And I was like, Massachusetts. Like, oh, Massachusetts. I was like,
that's a good joke, actually. Not gonna lie.
Excuse me.
I work with a couple of people that are so Southern that when they try and do the voice chat, it does not pick it up.
That's funny.
It's like, oh, I can't tell what you're saying. I'm like, well, I certainly can't tell what you're saying. So, yeah.
I'm sorry. I can't understand your accent. Damn it, SpongeBob! Why are you cursing?
No, we have people down here that we call mountain people. That literally only come down once a month to do grocery shopping, get medication, anything like that. I've lived here since 1999, 98. I still can't understand them. I'm like, huh? When you've got people that say far for fire, tar for tire, what is it? Summers for somewhere. Yuns for you. You all.
Ewins is y'all plus 3.
Yeah, yes, yuns is y'all plus 3. That is how I learned it. I was like, what the? I'm like,
yeah. I grew up in South Carolina. I understand.
I didn't think you could get any more southern than Georgia, which is where I'm from. We moved here. I'm like, Dad. He's like, I don't know.
He's like, here, listen. He's like, here, listen. If you want to understand this culture, here you go. And he just hands you the wrong turn. He's like, just watch this movie.
Wait, we're not there. No, we are not there.
Oh, we're just about.
Oh,
anyway,
no.
Go ahead.
Sorry, West Virginia.
Mount Mama.
So the cops showed up. They go into the house and, they're looking through everything. And the one thing I questioned was like, this is 1977. There were female cops back then in England? Probably.
See, yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
No, but they, they're looking through things. She's investigating something, but then the chair that she was standing on just slides back into place again. And they're like, all right, yeah, well, there's nothing we can do here, but we can get a priest for you, or family friend priest. So, yeah.
Well, they hear the knocking, that's what.
Yeah. She knocks, and then the chair goes off. So we're back to the Warrens' house where Lorraine is. She's reading her Bible, and their daughter Judy is there. She's making bracelets, and in the background on the bookcase, you actually can see the letters VALEC or K. Sorry, for Valak. And
they did it a couple times. Yeah, like whenever you see Ed and Lorraine at they're eating breakfast, there's a fucking paper against the window that says Valak as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of call outs to that. And this is when Judy kind of hears something, so she kind of wanders away, and Lorraine's kind of in her own world, but she wakes up, she walks out, and she sees Judy just staring down this hallway, and she's like, what's wrong? And she points down to the end. She's like, who's that? And you just see at the end of the hallway, and it's just the nun just standing there, and you're like, okay. And then it just casually walks off screen. You're just like, oh, all right. And Lorraine follows it. Lorraine goes into Ed's office. I'm guessing this is Ed's office because it's got the paintings everywhere. The nun one is hanging up on the wall. You got the Conjuring one picture there too. And she goes in there and she sees the painting and she, studies it. She turns the light on to make sure everything's good, but then she turns it off and you can tell that it slightly changes when she turns it off. And then you get the really eerie scene of the shadow of the nun slowly walking across the wall until it gets to the painting, and then you see the fingers wrap around it, and she's just like, what do you want? What do you want? And then it just runs at her, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yep. Shoulder tackle.
Yeah.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. Is that really your new voice? What about it? Sounds like you're gargling marbles.
And she gets tossed, though. She gets tossed back into the basement from the Amityville house. And that's when you see the nun just kind of peeks out from the pillar and shit. She's like, who are you? And she points.
Why do these movies keep putting me in shitty basements?
Yeah, she points and it's Ed. You find out that the shadowy figure from before is Ed, and he reacts because this big fucking thing just shoots out of his chest. And then of course she screams and she wakes up, and Judy is trying to get her to wake up, and she's just carving into her Bible. But you don't know what
was she doing?
Carving?
Oh.
Carving into her Bible.
She was carving. I'm sorry, I don't know if YouTube's gonna
whittling.
I said carving, so they can't.
I said carving.
Yeah, that's what he was doing.
He wasn't caulking over there, he was carving.
Yeah.
Yes. Entirely different.
But you don't know what she's carving into the Bible as of right now.
Same motions.
So we then go. Hello?
But during this part, did you want to talk about it? When her Bible was open, I think it was the Book of Solomon is what she was reading. Oh. That's the passage, but that's the passage where the two demons that we've just met, that's where they actually come from. Oh. Yeah, it's about the demon from Annabelle. I don't remember his name.
Malthus.
And then Valak is the other demon, but that's what that book's about.
So let's look up Valak real quick.
Whip it out!
I love this movie. It's a good
spell Valak.
Valak.
Yeah, it's technically it's Valac. The actual demon is spelled. So Valak is a demon described in the Joetic grimoires of the Lesser Key of Solomon. It is an angelically winged boy riding a two-headed dragon, attributing to the power of finding treasures.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Dude.
There was a main character in the 1998 John Carpenter film Vampires, where there was a character named Valak who was the first vampire. Did you know that?
Very cool.
Yeah. So, but like in this movie, it's a demon that can literally like conjure different like forms, because it like fucks with the family in different ways by like changes into the Crooked Man at one point. So a TV program is reporting on the Hodgson house. We meet Morris Gross. He's kind of you don't really get told the amount of time that has passed since we last saw the Hodgsons, but like there's moments in time where it feels like Morris has been there for a while, because he like knows a lot about them. And even when the Warrens finally show up later, he's able to give so much information. So they do like a whole thing where they sit Janet down with Margaret. They have Morris and then the TV guy and all his crew, and they pretty much want to talk to whoever's there. And that's when Janet starts to like laugh, and she starts talking with the man's voice, and she tells him who he is. He's Bill Wilkins. He even knows he's dead.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Yeah, he died.
Yes, Bill.
Yeah,
it's Bootstrap Bill.
I am Bill Wilkins. And he says like he died of a hemorrhage in the chair.
You mean that chair?
Yeah. You're just like, that chair? Like, why do we have that chair? That seems like a stupid decision.
Get rid of the fucking chair.
I think it's great that he is just like, you're dead. He's like, yeah, I do. And it's like, why? He's like, I just want my house back. And he's like, well, why are you doing this to these people? Because I like to hear them scream. And I was like, whoa, Bill, going a little deep here, man. Scary. And you notice though, when she is talking as Bill, her teeth change.
Yeah.
Yes.
Her teeth get nastier. Yeah.
That's
such a great touch.
I love when she is talking as him, and it's not only her voice, but his voice.
Yeah.
And then it slowly changes over to just him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
you're talking about with Ed Warren, like that part is fucking rad.
I love that it's just the little things. Like when I can hear a difference, I hate little kids' voices when they are trying to be scary. The whole, when it's two kids' voices together.
Yeah.
And it's the creepy voice.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's this, I hate it even more. But it's so great.
Yeah.
Because they slowly switch over from her to him. And I didn't notice it until right when it was almost just his voice. And I was like,
oh yeah, this voice is terrifying. Nothing will ever be as good as Reagan's demon voice from The Exorcist, but that voice is
OG. That's the OG demon voice. Just.
Mm-hmm.
So the voice of Bill was Robin Atkin Downs. He mostly does voiceover work. He actually was the computer voices in Prometheus.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Those were good.
He was the voice of Doomsday in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, even though I don't remember him talking.
Mm.
Yep. But I love it though. I actually watched behind the scenes of the scene where Ed is talking to him, even though we're not at that part yet. But he literally just lay down behind the couch with a microphone as they're doing that. So, and she would just have to mouth what he's saying, or no, she would talk at the same time as him to kind of, and then they would record what he was saying.
Yeah,
really
no,
cool.
With this part though, I really liked. She would do her, this is my house type of thing, and then she would. What happened?
Yeah,
I love that. I guess it's like, so what do you mean? She goes, what? I love that shit. Like it's like she didn't even realize what the fuck was happening.
Yeah,
I thought it was pretty tight.
But then we pan upstairs, and the Crooked Man box starts to go off, and then as it gets closer to it, the figure is going around, and then it just disappears. You're like, oh shit. So this is when we get so the family is staying at the neighbor's house, and that's when Billy is told about how the dog rings the bell when it needs to go out. And so that night he actually hears the bell, so he gets up, he checks the bell at the front door, nothing, and then he sees the dog at the back door, and when he goes to the dog just fucking no joke, from the thing just starts transforming, and it looks like it's stop motion when it's transforming. I don't know if it's just the way it's shot, but it really looks like it's stop motion for a bit until it turns fully into the Crooked Man. So the Crooked Man was played by Javier Botet, who, I mean, this man, Wreck, Crimson Peak, Mama. He was the hobo in It Chapter 1. He was he played Slender Man in that really terrible Slender Man movie.
He was in a movie called Mara where he played a sleep paralysis demon.
Fucking hell.
Golly, dude, he's awesome though. But if you guys ever get the chance, I sent this to Parker.
No.
It's not about that. It's his screen test for Mama, because he's practical. Like that's how his body. He has a condition.
I cannot do sleep paralysis demons because I have suffered from that since I was a kid. I remember my mom was leaving one day, and here I am. I'm up and I'm mobile. I cannot speak. And I see it didn't happen. But here I am. My brain thinks it's happened. Can't speak. I cannot do sleep paralysis. I cannot. Yeah. I was probably 6 when it happened. I can't. Anytime anybody talks about sleep paralysis, that's the first thing that pops in my brain. And I'm like, nope, can't do it.
Yeah, he was also in Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. He played the monster that can break himself apart.
Yep.
Good one. Where's my toe guy? That one?
Yeah, he's called the Toeless Corpse. That's what And he's playing Dracula in The Last Voyage of the Demeter, which
hell yeah.
I'm actually really excited to see. That movie looks really, really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, this whole thing with him the dog transforming.
I just love these type of scenes. They're so fucking good. Like it to me, it was really creepy. Tall. Yeah, I love how he trips Billy, and Billy's like, trying to escape him, and the whole time he's just, as he's like coming closer to him, he's saying the poem.
Yes.
Yeah,
but he's saying
that,
it
like really eerie voice type thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, since when did we get Tim Burton in this one?
That's what she said. I was like, oh,
but very, very abstract. Yeah.
It's such a great transition though, from Billy seeing the actual Crooked Man, and Billy runs into the room and is Mama, the Crooked Man's here. And then of course it's Janet who comes around and is continuing to say the poem.
Yes.
Yeah. And then of course this is when like shit starts happening. Like she detaches the cover of the fireplace, just flings it across the room. Yes. And like you get the close-up shot where her eyes are yellow and she just yells, and it's just like you see the force of her yell just kind of shatter everything in the house, and then she just collapses. And I'm like, this is fucking awesome.
Yes, but she's still, when she walks around that corner, she's still that staccato.
Yes.
Like of him walking.
Like, walking all.
Because I'm like, that's what I love, the little details in movies like this. It's like, I could care less how scary they are.
Yeah.
When you pay attention to that and you still keep that, it's
good.
just like good.
So this is when we go back to the Warrens and Father Gordon is showing them the tapes from the interview with Janet. I love it when they're showing them and they're like, and Father Gordon's like, what do you think? And he's like, it just sounds like a confused old man. And he's like, well, the voice you just heard is from an 11-year-old girl. And you just see Ed like, what the fuck? Yeah.
What?
Oh, what?
Wait a minute, jaw drops to the floor. Like,
yeah.
okay.
And of course,
yes. Thank you, Tim the Tool Man.
Sorry, I fucking love that show. So he pretty much is like, hey, I want to send you guys over there for a few days to see if it's a hoax or not. And of course, Lorraine is kind of on the fence about it because she doesn't want to do any more investigations. But, of course, Ed talks her into it. He's like, let's, we go there. If it's a hoax, we come straight home. If it's not, then, we can help someone. Don't you want to help people? And she's like, yeah. So this is when Lorraine tells Ed about the vision she sees a vision of his death. And she's like, that's what I saw before. And you find out that who she was seeing Valak or the nun figure before, and that's why she locked herself away for that 8 days. That's what you find out in the first Conjuring. And, of course, that's like the whole thing of, he's like, that's why you did all that. And she's like, yeah, I don't know what I'd do without you. I couldn't go on.
That's another callback to the first movie too, because Ed says the same thing to her about her potentially dying in the first movie.
Yep.
Yeah. But it's almost like
how the relationship actually was.
But in there's certain scenes where she's like scared and he's just like, okay. Yeah. Like he doesn't seem to be so worried about what she thinks.
Because he doesn't see this shit. She's seeing shit in her fucking sleep. Like I would listen, you can believe it or not when it comes to, clairvoyance and being a medium. Yeah. But if I had that ability, I'd fucking hate it.
Oh, yeah.
I totally agree. Like, some of the stuff that she sees, like, especially with her in the beginning, going through the whole scene.
Yeah.
I'd be like, fuck this shit. Like, you never go anywhere close to that. I would be done.
I mean, just imagine if you have that clairvoyance power and you see all that shit. And in your everyday life, like you're just trying to, take a shit, and all of a sudden you get this vision of this ghost killing people, and you're like, and you're there just like sitting on the toilet, you can't do anything.
Oh, I just imagine those.
But it's not just that. Like being there, you could be walking past a building and see everything that happened with that building.
It's like you're pulling the Haley Joel Osment character from Sixth Sense. Like that's what you're getting, where it's like, you're in the same situation, you're taking a shit, and then fucking Bobby comes into the room. You're like, Bobby, get the fuck out of here. I'll talk to you later. Like it's just something.
Yeah, when did you die?
Yeah, like can I finish first?
Shit in peace.
Jesus, man. So
but, I couldn't do it. Like I've met clairvoyants in my life, and I'm like, now knowing what that actually means, no, fuck no.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
No, I don't want it.
So they go to London, and Morris Gross picks them up, brings them there, kind of gives them the rundown of everything that's going on. And that's when they kind of give them a tour of the house, and they show them the locked room, which I'm guessing that was Janet and Margaret's room, right? Yeah.
And
it's
Ground Zero.
Yeah, it's all chained up. So this is why I'm figuring it's been a bit since the beginning of the movie. So you see there's a bunch of crosses there, and I guess people have just donated them.
Yeah.
So they were just hanging up there.
People have donated, and she hung them up.
And they're like, that is where all the activity is happening. Like every day they hear shit coming from this room.
Nope. Bye.
So Lorraine,
not that chair, just the room.
Yeah.
Fuck chair.
Listen, that's what I said. I'm like, how can they keep the door locked when dude could move the chair?
Yeah, right. So during that, Lorraine is talking to Janet. Of course, Janet doesn't really talk at first, but she then kind of opens up, and of course, because Lorraine tells about the whole, her kind of upbringing, and then her meeting Ed, and then, oh, what happened? It's like, I married him type thing, which then plays later. Like, that's the thing. It's like knowing, reading into the actual Warrens, and I love the performance by Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. I think they're fucking great. But as we stated in the first Conjuring episode, I love the fictional Warrens.
They're better Warrens than the real Warrens.
But
yes,
I feel like they're just shoving this love story down our throat. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't fucking care, man. Like, can we just move on to the ghost shit instead of it being like, they really love each other. They really love each other. I was like, okay, cool. Like, it's great.
Great chemistry.
So,
with their characters.
Yeah, but you also feel like you feel really bad for Janet because she's talking about like how she has no friends, like she's getting made fun of all the time, like nobody wants to be around her because of everything that's going on. And at this no, this isn't the part. I'll get to that. So this is when Ed talks to Peggy about the chair. He's like, "Oh, where'd you get the furniture?" "Oh, it was, when we bought the house, it was, my husband just bought all the furniture that was inside." It's like, oh, that's stupid. And he's like, "Oh, well, where's he at?" And he's like, "Oh, he's not here anymore." He's like, "Well, is there any chance of reconciliation?" She's like, "Oh, well, he has twins with a lady around the corner." And he's like, "I'll take that as a no."
Dude, that chair just looks like someone died in it. It's
100%.
like, why would you keep that shit?
Yeah, those juices are still in there.
No, that's one of the reasons why you do not buy secondhand furniture like that. If you cannot clean
Unless it was sick, man. Unless it was sick.
No.
This is a different time. But as somebody, I have taken trauma and crime scene cleanup. I'm certified in biohazard, bloodborne pathogen cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
You would throw that fucking couch out.
But my wife works in. She's an evidence specialist. Yeah, she tells me
exactly.
Yeah.
Once it gets into the pad,
this
shit ain't coming out. Yeah, you're fucking done. No, it's just throw it out.
Smell it.
Oh,
yeah,
that must smell horrible.
Awful.
Yeah.
So this is when they do the water experiment, where, and it's really fucking insane in the Enfield Haunting series. So in that one, they call upon like the head of Morris Gross works for an organization, like a paranormal organization in London. And he calls in the bigwig to come in to see, like, hey, this is actually happening. So they can't prove. So they put the water in her mouth and she won't talk, or the voice won't come out. So he fucking tapes her mouth with the water in it. And then that's when that's when the old man's voice comes out. And then he rips it off and she is terrified of him and hates him afterwards. It's like really dramatic. It's like really traumatizing for her. Where this one is like, put the water in your mouth. We got to look at you. Of course, he's like, "Oh, I can't. I don't think he'll talk if you're looking at him." So they turn around, and that's when you get, Bill starting to talk. But it's great because you don't see. It's not in focus, the chair, and you see that Janet's in it. But as the conversation keeps going, it's turning into a man. It's turning into Bill.
Yeah.
Really good.
I pointed that out. I'm sitting here and I'm like,
look at the bloke in the chair.
Oh, and I misspoke earlier. I was going to go to school to be a forensic pathologist.
You were going to be an ologist of some sort.
Yes,
we got that.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, it just hit me in the head, like, hey,
fondle those ologies.
Yeah.
So. One of the reasons why they wanted to do this experiment was because they're like, well, we want to make sure she's not doing any ventriloquism or anything. And it's like, the real Janet knew how to do ventriloquism, and that was how she got away with a lot of this stuff. She was practicing ventriloquism, and so she was able to project her voice, and that's how a lot of the events happened. So, which I thought was hilarious.
GG.
Yeah. So Bill speaks to Ed. I love how he's calling him like Ed, Eddie, Edward. He's like, your dad calls you Edward. He's like, no, he called me Ed. Let's not do this. Let's not talk about my dad. Let's talk about you. And he just starts to laugh at him. I just love every interact. Like Bill's voice is creepy as fuck. I love how Ed is coming off with the conversation. The transition in the background, it's fantastic. And that's when he whips out the cross and shows it to him, and he's like, and he starts mumbling. He starts saying something. Oh man, what does he say? He's like,
he plays like this. It's half of what they play later.
Yeah.
So
get off me. Get
something about get it off.
Yeah, something like that. So, this is when like Lorraine believes that something is happening. Like she's talking to Ed, who's kind of skeptical about the whole thing, but she's like, nah, I can sense that there's something here. So this is when Janet wakes up on the ceiling. Like she has that whole dream moment, and you see Bill sitting in the chair, and then he gets up and he's whistling, and it's the fucking song I always heard when I was a kid in Barney. I love you.
Yep.
I was like, what the fuck?
Stuff like this freaks me the fuck out. Kids' voices and whistling
and lullabies. They're supposed to be soothing and put you to bed, but they're just
they are not. They're not. No.
Yeah, so Bill,
like this. It just I'm like, fucking hell, stop it.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna hear this in my sleep.
Bill walks upstairs and snags her from the spot that she's in, because she's actually right below the locked room.
Yeah,
and he like is right through the floor. He's fucking with her in the room. She's screaming, and of course it's locked. So the mom gets there. And why does it take Ed and Lorraine so long to get there? Like the mom wakes up. She gets to the door.
No questions.
Listen, they were sleeping in the same room. They weren't sleeping in the same bed.
Oh, I love that there was a line though where it's just like, oh man, it's gonna be so weird to be so far apart. He's like, ooh, to give you something to think about when we get home, baby. And I was like,
listen, they can both sleep in that same bed.
That's right. Dustin, fucking shit.
Oh man, so yeah, she's getting.
I'll show you some ankle.
I love though when the mom. She opens the door up as far as it can go, and she's trying to, for one, she's trying to like just pull the chain off. It's like, you have a key. Go get the key. Ed has to tell her to go get the key, but she looks inside and she sees Bill's face, which freaks her out. She's like, somebody's in there with her.
I'm thinking that the chain loop that's around the doorknob is nowhere near as small as the doorknob.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't that shit just slide
off?
Yeah.
Not secure.
What type of knot was that, Angela? What type of knot did they tie?
Nothing. There was no knot.
My Boy Scouts knot.
She just like kind of rested over the top of the doorknob, like
this,
like
round the hole, side of the hole, in the hole. You'll get it. You'll get it one day, Chief.
Yeah, that's right. That's
cool.
Like this, there was no securing of that.
No.
Lock.
Hoopa steers the boat, Chief.
Hoopa drives the boat, Chief. God damn it! You're gonna get me cold in the fucking movie the rest of the
I know, dude. I'm just sitting here thinking of it.
So they get into the room. Look at Dustin. He's got his arms folded. He's like, "Fuck Jaws again." Shut up. Can we quote Jaws 3D? It's my favorite.
Listen. We can quote Jaws from start to finish. Just
or it ain't over yet. So keep going.
Strap in.
All I know is Dennis Quaid had a great time on Jaws 3D. Okay.
Damn.
He was
surfing that Coke just like the shark was.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, man.
It's the only way to have fun, right?
Oh, man. So when they get in there, she's getting choked out by the curtain. And when they get in there, it's still choking her out. I was like, damn.
I was trying to determine what happened. Did like the curtain actually wrap around?
Yeah,
it looked like it was like draped over. It's like, that's thin enough she could breathe through.
I guess you're hyperventilating. You're kind of freaking out. That can happen too, even if it is, you can breathe through it. Imagine you're just sitting there, just like, haha, ghost, I can breathe through this. And it's like, damn it.
It's demon curtains, yeah.
Been a while, Bill. I remember how to breathe.
I want to say that she had something else wrapped around her neck, and it wasn't just the curtains. There was something else around her neck.
It might have been a rope she tied herself to the bed to. It might have been.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Because
you could tell when she's on the ceiling. So Gross. He tries to convince Ed of what's happening. And of course, there's like the skeptical woman. I can't remember what her name was, but she's like, "I don't believe it." I've seen cases like this before.
She's a fake and stuff.
We're gonna come in and we'll investigate it. So this is when all the kids come back from the neighbor's house and they're like, "We're gonna stay at home again," because
we're gonna see what Johnny or whatever.
Just for his second scene. I'm in this movie. Hi.
He's back home from reform school.
And Ed bought them Elvis records because the mom talks about how the father took the old ones.
Yeah.
And of course the record player doesn't work, so Ed finds a guitar and plays a song for them. Of course, he's got to talk like Elvis.
Oh, absolutely. Do the lip and everything.
Yeah.
You got
golden pipes, good looking guy, can do fucking everything.
Yep. True facts.
Yeah. Asshole.
How dare you?
Fuck you in your genetic lottery.
And while all this is happening, that's when the skeptical woman and her crew are like setting up cameras and stuff around the house. So Ed then goes to talk to Janet about facing her fear. This is when he's working on something else. Like we said, like Dustin was saying, this man just does everything. He's literally fixes their faucet in their kitchen. Then he's gonna go downstairs and he's gonna fix the washing machine. And it's like, what? But yeah, he talks about facing the fears, and he tells this whole story about his upbringing, about his dad and how he got the cross, and then of course about meeting Lorraine. He's like, you know what I did? And she's like, you married her, and he's like, oh, so you've heard this story before? I'm sorry.
I've heard this joke, you dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is when Lorraine is outside talking to Morris, and this is when he tells her about his daughter, about she got in a car accident, and it was kind of his way. He got into this kind of to try to see if he can communicate with her. This is when Ed goes downstairs to mess with the washing machine, and he has to actually go to a pipe that's in the middle of the lake in their basement. Just fucking.
Yeah, I was like, man, I'm here to fix your pipes.
Not like that.
Holy shit.
This basement is scary as fuck.
She's down there with him, right? Like that. She's
she's got the flashlight. Like, hey.
Can you hold that shit straight?
I was gonna say, if it were me trying to help my dad fix a car, my dad would not have been that nice about where I was pointing the flashlight. Just saying.
Flashlight duty.
Yeah.
I had a lot of flashlight duty.
Yeah,
I heard that.
And I never got I'm like, I'm pointing at where you're telling me to. It was never in the right spot.
So Ed is wading through the water he's got to go to the pipe. And then this is when Peggy is standing on the stairs and she's looking, she's like, what's that? Someone is literally in the corner, comes out of the shadows and is just like walking towards him. And that's when she's like, Ed, there's something behind you. And he turns around. There's nothing there.
It's British Jaws.
Yes. No, this is exactly what we said. We're like, wait, is this Jaws?
Yeah, it's British Jaws, except the shark speaks, has a Cockney accent, and fucked up teeth. It's a joke. It's okay.
They pull out the dentures. It's like they pull out the shark dentures. Yeah.
But of course, she goes into the water too, and she sees something, and then something grabs her, pulls her under, and that's when Ed comes over and saves her, and she comes up with a bite mark on her arm. And then he also finds, the two missing teeth, because they noticed that on the bite wound on Janet, there was a gap. And the mom has the same thing, and they find the two missing teeth. He's like, well, I found your teeth, Bill. That's why he's haunting the house.
Yeah.
He has never been able to find those teeth. And he's like, I'm never leaving until I find those fucking teeth. I will bite everyone in this house.
It's like Father's Day from Creepshow. He just wants his cake, dude.
Yeah.
It was correctly.
If you haven't learned anything from Supernatural, like they leave if they leave behind an object, you have to fucking salt it and burn it. It's the teeth, not the fucking chair.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
How about you just put the teeth on the chair, burn them both at the same time?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was for sure Ed was going to get electrocuted in this scene.
Or something.
This motherfucker's get electrocuted. Like, there's wires in the background. Like, this just goes droop into the water.
This basement is dangerous.
Yes.
So it's Christmas time. They're decorating their house, and this is when they start hearing shit from the kitchen. And Johnny's like, I'll go in there. I haven't done anything in this movie.
I know shit.
Because they're talking about, you can see him playing with the knives. And
Janet's the only one who sees him, though. She's like, do you see him?
Yeah.
Somebody's in there playing with the knives.
I'm like, no, ma'am, I cannot see through walls.
Yeah. And so
Johnny's like, I'm an expendable character. I can walk in
here. Did you hear that? Did you see it?
That kid was definitely not one that I would think would,
do it. Yeah, go in there.
Like, hey, I got this.
Yeah, so Johnny goes in there and there's just knives just sticking, a shit ton of knives just sticking out of the table. And of course, he does that and he looks and just tries to go out the door and he just turns and Janet's just like, hey, with a knife in her hand. I was like, holy shit.
I'm gonna cut you.
Yeah, she was literally down in like crouch position, like, hey, like licking the knife. And gonna get you.
He's standing in the doorway because Margaret and Billy start screaming.
Yeah.
Saying that she just disappeared. And he's like, where is she? And he turns and that one got me.
Ninja vanish.
I was not prepared for her to be right there. Like, I was just prepared for her to be pulled into that, not universe, but pulled into that midway point where she's been before.
Yeah.
The limbo. Yeah.
Yes, limbo.
So, all hell breaks loose. All the doors kind of lock. Ed and Peggy try to get up from the basement. Lorraine and Morris are outside. They run in. They try to get into the kitchen. They finally get in, and the fucking whole kitchen is destroyed. And Johnny and Janet are missing. But they find Johnny in the pantry. And then they're like, well, where the fuck is Janet? And then Janet is like a contortionist inside this cabinet that's got a pipe in there and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? And then she's talking like Bill. And this is when, of course, Ed whips out the cross and he says the next phrase of the puzzle piece there.
Yeah, we're talking earlier about how kids are flexible, man. She was fucking biting her shoulder. Look at her now, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just fucking big chilling in those pipes.
So, of course, they are like, holy shit, this is crazy, until the skeptical woman comes in. She's like, yeah, she was faking it. Come outside. I'm going to show you proof. And it just shows a video of Jan just picking shit up, throwing it across, fucking tossing the kitchen table. I'm like, God damn.
I was like, hold on. That little girl could not throw that table and chair.
No, she tossed that table like it was nothing.
It fucking exploded when it hit the wall. Jesus.
Yeah.
She walks up, grabs the fucking tablecloth, and the flowers are still standing.
The Grinch one where he does it. And it's just like, oh man. So of course it's they all think it's a scam, so they leave. And of course the sad moment where Janet just puts her hand on the window like, don't leave me. And Morris is trying to talk to him into it, like, you saw the things that were happening. You heard the voice and all that. And of course Ed is the very like, yeah, but and Lorraine's kind of on the fence. I feel like she still knows something's going on. And of course, the skeptical woman is also trying to like point the finger at the mom too. She's like, you think my daughter did everything? He's like, well, could have had some help. And she's like, how dare you? Get out of here. So Ed and Lorraine get brought to a train station because they're going to go back home. And right before the train, I guess, takes off, Ed kind of, the two tapes fall, and Ed's like, whip out them tape
they make
players.
An X in the floor.
Yes,
The tape says X gonna give it to you.
Oh shit, he did give it to us. This whole fucking time. X gave us the answers.
There it is.
Yeah, so they
sounds like my head.
It's not just dog barking. It's
there's relevance.
Oh, so yeah, they bring out the tape players. Oh, sorry.
Did Ed Lorraine actually write the lyrics to that song?
Right.
Possibly.
This is before it. Like, it's the X. Like, Marks the spot and gave it to us. I should write a song about this.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Headcanon.
So they decipher the two tapes. He connects he sets both of the recorders there, plays them both at the same time, and it plays like, get her off me, I can't get her off me, or something like that. She's on me, like talking that there is somebody else there.
Really fast.
Yeah.
He jumps to that conclusion really fast.
So that's when Ed kind of figures out, oh, there's something else at play here. Like, it's not like Bill is being controlled by a stronger entity. So they rush back to the house. Oh, it says, so I actually, wow, look at me. I actually wrote what it said. It said, help me. It won't let me go.
Yep.
So Lorraine sees Bill and the demon that uses him. She kind of has a vision because she talks to Bill. And this is when you see more of a like human Bill. And
yes.
he's talking about the fact of, he knows he's dead. She's like, why don't you just move on? He's like, I can't. There's something, controlling me. And that's when you back up, and that's when you see kind of the hand go over his shoulder, and then the nun kind of shows itself.
And then it's we get the rhyme or the what's the fucking
the riddle.
There you go. Yeah.
Which I didn't write that down. Sorry.
It's in your pockets.
It's what's given to you, but it's like what's given to you, but it's not like fuck. I don't know.
What's given to you at birth and essentially follows you to your death, or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
It's don't do this to me, because now I'm gonna be like, what did it say?
Well, keep going. She'll remember.
So yeah, he says his thing. She wakes up. She's like, we got to go back. They go back. And this is when they walk into the room, and Margaret is just floating there.
Yeah.
And she just gets tossed against the wall. You see Janet's also floating, but she's got like the demon face going with the yellow eyes, and she's tossing her back and forth, and crazy shit's happening. And Ed and Lorraine get back. No one can get inside, so Ed has to go through the basement. And of course, you get the whole thing. It's like, Ed, no, you can't go. You have to wait for me, Ed. He's like, I gotta do this, Lorraine. And he just like goes off, and she's like crying outside the door. And then the neighbor just shows up with the axe. He gets the axe out of the shit, and he's like hacking at it. So Ed breaks into the main part of the house. He like breaks through one of the floors, gets up there, and it just gets immediate fucking steam shot right in his face, which then fucks up his vision for the rest of the movie.
It's a hot vapor bukkake, baby.
Yeah.
Okay. So the riddle that was given, it says, I am given and I am taken. I was there at your first breath, but you didn't ask for me, but I will follow you till your death.
There you go.
Yeah. Which is
riddle me this, Batman.
It's just Jim Carrey's the Riddler fucking putting that fucking envelope on Bruce Wayne's gate.
Yes. It's great.
It's weird. I found this riddle with the mixtapes from this girl talking, and now we have fucking riddles to solve.
What is this movie?
Wait a minute. We don't have time for this.
But I love that because Ed's vision is impaired, the crooked man is like walking behind him, like, which is kind of creepy. And Lorraine, that's when Lorraine kind of goes through the whole thing. It's like, a demon is weakest when you know its name, and of course she like the riddle plays the riddle in her head, and she's like, going through. And then of course she looks at her Bible, and you find out what she was carving in her Bible was Valak. Yeah.
Cause she's like, I know your name. You told me. Yeah. I asked you, because it's like, what is your name? And I'm like,
and that's when she points, like, right?
What is your name?
Yeah.
What is your quest? Sorry.
What is your favorite color? Red.
Green.
No, blue.
No, blue.
Because that's what I had to do to get through some of these scenes. I had to, like, the finding out dude's name was Bill, and he says it, and I'm like, Bill Nye, the science guy. Because I'm like, otherwise I'm not making it through this without having some form of mental breakdown.
So when Lorraine finally figures out who the demon is, she's gonna go inside. She sees the tree, and the tree gets struck by lightning, which then causes it to form into this spiky stump. And that's kind of what she remembers the vision of Ed dying. That's what was coming out of his chest. Lorraine finally gets in the house. She kind of follows the same path of Ed. She gets up to the locked room that's now open because Ed actually sees Janet about to jump, and he saves her, and he's kind of like hanging on the curtain. He's got Janet, and of course Lorraine shows up, but she can't immediately help them. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, you get the dramatic, all the rings just start snapping.
He'd have been dead.
But yeah, she comes into the room. Not that way. But she's prevented from saving them because Valak is in the corner as the nun. But of course, she calls its name and she says what it is. I can't remember exactly what she says, but it causes it to react and scream, and it turns into the demon, which I thought you saw a lot longer. Like I remember,
it was just real quick.
It's very quick. And to be honest, I thought this scene lasted longer too. I was like, it happens and it ends, and I was like, I thought this was dragged out more. Was there an extended version I've seen before? I don't know.
She says, "You are Valak, the defiler, the profane, the Maquis of snakes. In the name of the Father,
the Marquis of Snakes.
I think there's supposed to be an
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, that's not what she says. Yeah. But in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, I condemn you back to hell.
Yeah, and that's when she turns into the demon, full black demon, and then gets sent to
hell. The teeth.
Like you said,
I love the jowls. Yeah, that's so
that is, yeah.
So the demon version of the nun is played by composer Joseph Bashara. The nun, not demonic nun, she's creepy still, is played by Bonnie Aarons, who would come back and play her again in The Nun, which we are going to be covering in a couple weeks. But she looks like that too. No joke. Have you ever seen a picture of Bonnie Aarons? She just that's what she looks like.
She was just at a con down here not too long ago.
I've heard she's one of the nicest people. So you'll love it. And she's been on the Dead Meat podcast before.
Really?
So yeah. But yeah, she gets the demon gets cast back to hell, and we then get, of course, like the generic end of movie ambulance meet greet. Everybody's outside. Oh, we survived type thing. And Ed gives Janet his cross, and then you get a whole thing about how Peggy lived there in that house until she died in 2003, and she died in the same chair as Bill. I'm like, why was that fucking chair still there?
Kept it for that long?
Why?
And why did she die in it? Damn.
I felt like maybe she felt like she owed it to the chair.
Maybe. I don't know.
Two people are dying in this bitch.
She loved Bill after that. Like, Bill was the good spirit, not the bad one.
So,
like, fuck no.
We're then back at the Haunted Museum, and Ed, the new addition to the museum is the Crooked Man box, which goes right next to the box from the first Conjuring, and of course the music box, the one with the mirror in it. Mommy, come look at this. Like, no,
I love how he's putting this one on the shelf with nothing on his hands, but he won't touch the other one. He has his handkerchief or whatever, and he's pushing it up.
Because I don't touch any of them. And then of course you get Annabelle in the background, like clear as day.
Hello.
Because guess what? The next one on the list is another Annabelle movie. So there you go.
Hey.
But that is the end of The Conjuring 2. So, oh shit, I gotta pull up Twitter and Instagram. So we got to do some comments.
Okay, good. While you're doing this, I want to hit you guys with a riddle. Don't look it up. I'm not going to tell you the answer. I'll tell you when we're done recording. It's my favorite riddle of all time.
Okay.
And it's from my favorite version of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you know it without looking up, cool. If not, anybody that watches this, just tell us on Twitter. But here it goes. The riddle is, this thing, all things devour. Birds, beasts, trees, flowers. Gnaws iron, bites steel. Grinds hard stone to meal. Slays kings, ruins towns, and beats mountains down. I can't do it as good as the person that did it originally.
What? Can you show it to me without
the answer?
Without the answer.
I can read it one more time if you want me to.
I have an idea, but I
have no idea what you just said.
I'll read it again.
Yeah, read it one more time.
Yeah, okay. It's this one down here.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I was reading.
It's this thing, all things devours. Birds, beasts, trees, flowers. Gnaws iron, bites steel. Grinds hard stone to meal. Slays king, ruins town, and beats mountain down.
I know.
Don't Google it.
No.
Okay, don't say he does. So don't say nothing.
I know it.
What is it?
Okay.
No, don't say nothing because I'll tell you when we're done recording.
I told him.
Okay.
Then let people online.
Well, you said it during the recording. Now everybody wants to know.
Yeah. Then they can comment online.
Oh.
Then we'll tell.
All right.
There you go.
So if you want to guess the answer to Dan's riddle, just message him over on Twitter at, what's your Twitter handle?
Just put it on Dissect That Film.
Yeah,
just put it on there.
So yeah, we got a few comments on the social medias. Our first one is from Charles at Repub9989, who said, I like this one more than the first one with his arms like this. And you know what?
I agree.
I don't think I don't think you need to do this.
We didn't tell our what we thought about the movie.
Yeah.
Since you guys did.
Yeah,
we're getting there. We just got time.
Angela,
no.
You need to chill
What?
out. You made this show 2.5 hours long with all your tirades over there, okay? About everything. So
it's nighttime. It's nighttime, but I felt that shade just now.
Listen, Linda.
I was getting there. I do the comments, then I ask you what you thought of the movie.
That's not how this works. Sorry. I'm sorry. I just.
Oh God.
I feel that.
I need to watch that episode now.
I feel that.
And then we have the Epic Film Guys who says one of my all-time faves. So we're gonna go over to Threads, where we have 3 replies over on Threads. Thanks for commenting over on Threads, everybody. We said really good sequel from Horror Movie Talk 1. Leftover Pizza Podcast said was blown away by how good this sequel was. And then the cosplayer from Texas just said, I loved it.
Thank you, cosplayer.
I think the general consensus is this is a good movie. So here we go. This is when we're going to talk about what we thought of the movie. Let's start off with Angela, because clearly she had the biggest problem with this.
So it's so out of order. I have ways in my brain that things happen and you switch it up on me. Fucking hell. Why did you put that in my pocket?
I just wanted to put something in your pocket.
Stop touching my pocket.
They demand an answer. The people demand it.
Well, stop distracting me and I will give them my answer. This is great. I love this way more than the first one. Would I watch this again? Yeah, I'd watch it again. Did it scare the shit out of me? Yes, it did. What the fuck? See what I have to deal with?
Sorry.
This is every recording. Something happens, and it's this guy's fault.
Don't worry. After people listen to this episode, they'll be like, God damn, there's some fucking tension over there. How long is this going to last?
I mean, I can make it longer. Do you want me to? It's already 11 o'clock. I can make it longer.
I'm out, guys. We'll see you later.
Dustin's over there trying to stay awake. He's like, come on. But yeah, this one was way up here compared to the first one. Like, love the first one. Even though it scared the shit out of me, and I still do not like Dustin for picking said series, but this one was much better. I feel like they got in sync with everything. It wasn't like we got to so far in the movie and I was like, yeah, they probably could have cut part of this out. It was a little bit long in certain areas, but I think it's because we were distracted I was so frustrated with my 9-year-old. I'm like, can you not watch a movie and not talk? Like, yes, we're making comments, but he's over here.
Yeah.
Happened.
Yep.
I'm like, use your eyeballs. you'll know. I'm like, stop talking, open your eyes, and you will see what happened. Like, I shouldn't have to explain 2 seconds after.
You have to tell him 50 times. Go ahead.
I was like, if you don't stop talking, I'm going to kick you out. And then you can watch it by yourself. But yeah, that's my feelings. Don't judge me. I feel like
falling off the desk.
I feel like Parker's over there telling me to shut up.
Judgment.
Dan.
Perfect. All right. So I enjoyed this movie. I think it was better than the first one. Not by a whole lot, but I thought it was a better film. I think it could have stood to be a little bit shorter. And I kind of like the stuff they did with the nun in the Warrens' house leading up to this event, which was a lot better than just the first demon in the first movie just randomly showing up at the Warrens' house, fucking with a doll in a rocking chair, and then like deuces motherfuckers, and then never showing up there again. I felt like that was like a scene I was like, I kind of get what they were trying to do, but it just kind of felt like that didn't go anywhere. Yeah. And this is like, oh, let's do more with that and actually have shit happen in their home outside of this small incident. And but other than that, you know, like I said earlier, the cinematography was great, the music was great. The Warrens are fantastic, the actors for them, and I liked it. I like the first film being a little bit shorter, the containment. I don't like when horror movies go too long.
Yeah.
But other than that, I thought this maybe was just a hair too long-winded. Other than that, it was great. It was a good time.
The girl that played Janet did a fantastic job.
Yeah, little girl. Yeah, she did a good job.
She did a good job. I don't know how old she was in this, but I have the same problem sometimes with kid actresses. They're kind of immature about where they are in their career. I feel she did a great job.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's why a lot of times, like in the past, like when it came to like movies about like kids in high school, it was always like 30-year-old people. Because they were just like, yeah, they're more established, a little bit more mature. They could play those immature characters instead of like, no, we're actually going to hire teenagers to play teenagers because that makes a lot more sense.
Like her face when she wasn't even looking at anything.
Yeah.
I was like, shit.
Her eyes.
She scared.
Her eyes did a lot of acting.
Scared me. Like, yeah, her glazed over eyes. Like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Dustin.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts? I know you shared a little bit of your thoughts in the beginning of the episode, but like, what is this better than the first Conjuring? I know you stated it's your favorite, but
it's my favorite one for sure. But I really do like the first one a lot. Like, I love the farmhouse stuff. I love the simplicity of the scares. I like that a lot of it's during the day too.
Yeah.
This one, like I said earlier, I love the fact that there are two well-known cases on here, and we kind of get to experience it, you know, through the eyes of these characters. And I thought all the scares in this shit were great. Valak's just a great character. Dan, if you like Valak being in the Warrens' house when you guys watch Annabelle Comes Home, it's gonna be fucking tight because it focuses on the room of stuff. So it's not just one ghost, which is rad. But this movie, I didn't feel like it drug on because I feel like each scene, like when Lorraine's outside talking to the little girl about, you know, what's been going on, she whips around and she goes, "They told me to hurt you." And she goes, "Well, when did they say that?" And she goes, "Just now." Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, hell yeah, dude. Or like the reason she threw all that shit around in the kitchen and all the siblings are like, "Well, why did you fake all that?" Then she's like, "Well, I was told if I didn't get them to leave, they were going to kill you." So it's just things like that, man. Like, I really liked the pacing. For me was okay. I mean, I watch the shit all the time. This is a constant rewatch for me. The first one, like I said, but the first one is really good too. But the second one will forever be my favorite, just like the Lost World Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, this is great. I mean, I stated it in the beginning of the episode. I played my hand, like I said, and I love this movie. It's a great paranormal movie. Like it plays really well into effects, but it also doesn't just like throw everything at you all at once. Like Dustin was saying, it gives you those subtle, like, pay attention or you're gonna miss this thing. Like seeing Bill sitting in the chair, but you're more focused on like, where's Billy going, instead of like you might miss that part, or just little things throughout the movie, like the fact that it says Valak on the bookcase, or the fact like I missed the paper that said Valak in the kitchen, and like just those little things, it makes it so much fun. And then when the scares do happen, they're really fucking solid. And I love the Bill Wilkins ghost. I love his voice. I love anytime that Janet is talking like him. It's very eerie. And yeah, it's just solid from beginning to end. And of course, Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson are fucking awesome. They're just so good in these movies. Yeah, that's about it for me when it comes to The Conjuring 2. Next week, I thought of this movie just randomly. I said, you know what movie do I want to talk about? And because every couple of weeks when it comes to a long franchise, I like take a break. We don't want to watch all the movies in the franchise all at once because it's kind of draining. So we like to unwind by throwing something else in there. And I was like, I'm looking through my list of substantial anniversaries for movies. I was like, what came out? And let's see, what's it? 25 years ago is 1998. I was like, 2003. Oh shit. We're going to talk about a movie that came out and it literally ended a very high profiled actor's career, forced him into retirement. He said, fuck this shit, I'm out. And it was directed by the director of the original Blade. And that movie is 2003's The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Hell yeah. I love that movie.
A movie that I grew up loving.
Yes.
And for some reason, it is one of the most hated movies. People do not like this movie. People hate it. Like, I don't know. I haven't seen it as an adult. It's been a very, very, very long time since I've seen this movie. So maybe things have changed, but I remember really enjoying it. But yeah, Sean Connery, it was his last film, last live action film. He did voiceover stuff later, but yeah, it's going to be very interesting because this is it's a movie that's going to be, it's 20 years old this year, and figured it's a good palate cleanser from the Conjuring universe. So we're going to be talking about that next week. I'm very, very excited. I need to remember, what episode is this?
4,628.
No, I know what it is. Okay. Well,
6.
Dustin, where can people find you? And what do you got going on over there at Flicks and Friends?
He's right there.
No, that's us right back there.
No, he's right there.
He's right there. Well, yeah, his face is right there too.
You can find us on any social medias, or not any, because we're not on what's the new one? Threads. We're not there yet. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, all Flicks and Friends podcast. We are celebrating our 1-year anniversary coming up, which I talked to you guys about. We're doing Ghostbusters, which I can't fucking wait to talk about that movie. And yeah, if you want to suggest any movies, we are open to suggestions. Am I allowed to mention the Patreon?
Absolutely.
We do have a Patreon at patreon.com/flicksandfriends. There you get early access to episodes and bonus content.
Woo!
So
become a patron. It's well worth it.
Parker's there
to support a great show. Yeah. You can find us at Dissect That Film on all the social medias and TikTok and all the podcast apps out there. If you listen to us on Apple, I say this wherever you listen to us, just rate and review us, please. We want more of your reviews. Actually, I'm a little late on this. Let me pull it up real quick. We did get a new Apple review.
Oh, please!
Let's see if I can.
1 star.
Let's see if I can find. Nah, it was a good one. Don't worry.
They are good. Number one. Number one.
Yeah.
Why are you wanting?
We got one from a 5-star who said, "I love this podcast," from Jash Faison. That's a very unique name. It says, you guys literally said on June 16th's pod to do this. Lol. I legit do love you guys, chemistry and rapport. I laugh like I know you guys. Give us 5 stars. Thank you so much. We were literally, that's almost a month old, so I apologize we didn't mention it.
We laugh like we know each other too.
Yeah, that's great.
Just kidding.
And thank you to everybody who leaves us comments on our past videos. It's great to go on YouTube and be like, wow, people watch our YouTube channel. It's crazy. But yeah, if wherever you listen to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, give us those 5 stars. Please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. If you listen to us on Good Pods, you can leave us 5 stars, and you can leave reviews on the show and on the episodes. It's really cool. And if you watch us on YouTube, you comment on the video, like, comment, and subscribe. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers. It's kind of been a stalemate lately, but if you listen to us and just go over to the YouTube. You don't have to watch it. Just go over there and hit the subscribe button. It's free. It's cool. All of and Dan and Angela's links and my other links are down in the description. So if you want to follow us, they're all down there. All the links will be down there. So
just don't say anything about my face. It's okay.
Okay. Oh, Dustin.
Hey, I'm sensitive about my face. Okay, thank you.
There's nothing wrong with your face. What? Who's saying it's about your face?
Everything wrong with it.
Oh no. Okay. Dustin, it is always a pleasure to have you here, even if it is just the most chaotic.
Hey, it's all good, man. It's all in good fun. I love being here.
Oh, we love having you here, man. It's always a great time, and we're looking forward to the next time. We're always like, when's the next time? Because we're gonna figure it out. So thanks again, man. All right, everybody. Until next time, I am Brett Parker. That is Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming. And that is Dustin Elkins of the Flicks and Friends podcast. This has been the Dissect That Film Podcast, episode 118. We'll see you all again next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.